All right, let's talk about a real hidden gem from Shonen Jump. Today, we're diving deep into the power system from the manga Psyren, a system that is, honestly, one of the most complex and well thought out I've ever seen. We're talking about PSI.
I mean, look at that quote. That's a huge claim, right? Especially when you think about legends like Nen from Hunter x Hunter or Chakra in Naruto or even Devil Fruits. So, what makes this kind of forgotten system so special? What makes it stand out from the crowd? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute core concept, what PSI even is. Then we'll get into the three main pillars that everything is built on. After that, things get interesting. We'll explore the more complex hybrid types, look at the all-important rules and risks that give it real stakes, and finally, we'll see how this whole system is just woven into the very fabric of Siren's incredible story.
Okay, first up, the power of thought. So, what is Psi really? Well, it all boils down to the insane potential that's just locked away inside every human brain. So, picture this. Your brain, right now, has this built-in safety switch, a limiter. It basically keeps about 90% of your brain cells dormant, pretty much to stop you from, completely short-circuiting yourself. Psi is the ability to just flip that switch off. It's about overclocking your mind to 100%, letting you turn pure thought into actual, tangible reality. It's wild. But here's the thing. This power of thought isn't just some big, messy blob of an ability. No, it actually shows up in three really distinct, fundamental ways. And every single PSI user, or psyker as they're called, pulls their power from these three pillars. And those three pillars are Burst, Trance, and Rise. Super simple, right? Burst is all about messing with the world outside of you. We're talking classic stuff like telekinesis or shooting fireballs. Trance is the complete opposite. It's all mental, all about information. Think telepathy, creating illusions, or even mind control. And then you've got Rise, which is purely about jacking up your own body, enhancing your strength, speed, and senses to superhuman levels. And you know what? For anybody who's a fan of, say, Naruto, this comparison makes it all click into place instantly. Burst, that's basically your ninjutsu, throwing elemental attacks. Trance, that's your genjutsu, getting inside people's heads. And Rise, pure taijutsu, baby, all about that physical power. It's such an elegant and smart way to build a foundation that everyone can immediately get. But okay, here's where the real genius of the PSI system kicks in. It doesn't just stop with those three basic types. Oh no. The real depth, the real creativity, comes from how you can start to combine and even go beyond these pillars. This is where it gets really cool. Let's take the ability Cure, for example. This is a super rare, specialized hybrid power. So how does it work? First, you start with Rise, but a very specific kind of Rise that supercharges your body's natural healing factor. Then you take that enhanced healing and, using Burst, you literally project it outward onto someone else. See? You're combining an internal power with an external one to create something totally new. It's brilliant. And trust me, it gets even crazier from there. You can mash up Trance and Rise to get visions, actual future sight. There are zone abilities that give users control over massive chunks of the environment, like the atmosphere itself. And then there's Nova. This is the absolute peak. It's what happens when a user fuses all three PSI types, transcends their own body, and literally becomes a being of pure energy. The power ceiling in this series is just immense. Okay, but we all know that a power system with no limits is a boring one, right? Any great system needs great limitations. It's the rules, the risks that create real tension and stakes. And Psyren absolutely nails this. Using PSI isn't free. It comes with a very, very heavy price. Because, yeah, overclocking your brain has some very real and very dangerous side effects. If you push your PSI too hard without resting, the physical toll is just brutal, and it gets worse and worse. It starts with a simple headache, then it escalates to a fever, then you get a nosebleed, and if you're foolish enough to keep pushing past that, the final stage is just death. It means every single fight is a battle not just against your enemy, but against your own body's limits. And how you use your PSI is a huge deal, too. You can just let raw emotion take over, which can create these devastating, almost unstoppable attacks, but it'll burn you out in a heartbeat. The smart way, the elegant way, is a technique called programming. Think of it literally like writing a piece of code for an ability before you even use it. A psyker will prepare a whole set of instructions in their mind, a program, right? And then they just
let their PSI run it automatically. This takes a ton of the mental strain off. It allows for these incredibly complex and precise moves, and frankly, it's the only way to master high-level PSI without completely destroying yourself. So, okay, we've got this incredibly deep, versatile, but also super dangerous power system. The big question is, what's it all for? And this question is what takes us from just how PSI works to why it matters so much to the story of Psyren. Because here's the thing. In Psyren, PSI isn't just there for cool fight scenes. It is the one and only tool the heroes have to fight back against a future that's already been completely lost. And that's the core premise of the whole series. The story isn't about stopping an apocalypse from happening. It's about trying to reverse one that's already happened. Our heroes, these brand new psychers, get yanked from their own time and dropped into this desolate, ruined future where the bad guys have already won and have been mastering PSI for years. And just to make things even more insane, the contaminated atmosphere in this future wasteland has this wild side effect. It amps up all PSI abilities by a factor of 5. A 5x multiplier? That means every single fight in the future is exponentially more powerful, more destructive, and way more dangerous. The scale of the conflict is just completely off the charts. So let's circle all the way back to that first question. What truly makes Psyren's PSI system one of the best? Look, it's not just about the cool powers. It's the fact that every single rule, every single limitation, every single new technique is tied directly into the story. The physical cost of using your power, that creates real, nail-biting suspense. The whole programming mechanic, that rewards cleverness over brute strength. And the plot itself, this desperate struggle to fix a broken timeline, gives every single use of PSI this incredible weight and consequence. It's one of those rare systems where the power isn't just in the story, it is the story.